It's the Hot Rod Podcast with Ron Foreman and Brady Wright. We literally live, eat, and breathe cars. Thanks for joining us on the podcast today. Make sure that you hit the subscribe and the like button, mash the notifications on so that you'll know every time we put a new show together and bring it to you here on YouTube. Time to get going. Let's see what's happening this week.
Hi, it's Brady Wright. Ron Foreman is not with us tonight, but we have a special series of guests. Tonight, it's the Hidden Pioneers. Boy, are they involved in helping the sport grow through teaching young ones coming in. Let's check them out.
The Hot Rod Podcast is sponsored by the Idaho Hot Rod Hall of Fame, a nonprofit organization that recognizes and rewards men and women who actively promote the hot rod community, clubs, and builders all over the state of Idaho. Every year we award a Hot Rodder of the Year, a Club of the Year, and a Young Rodder of the Year, as well as giving out scholarship money to students in the auto trades programs at local colleges. If you want to know more, or if you want to nominate an honoree, go to idahof.org or email us at idahof@gmail.com. That's Idahof, IDAHHOF.org, or again, idahof@gmail.com.
It's Brady Wright. As mentioned, Ron Foreman is not going to be here tonight because he's got a prior engagement. However, I have with me tonight the Hidden Pioneers. I've got Bill and Jerry and Sonia, and boy, there is so much to talk about with you guys and your organization. I'm just going to ask you a kind of an opening question, and we'll go from there. If I didn't know anything about the Hidden Pioneers, I could look you up on Facebook. But what do I need to know as a newbie?
What do you say one more time? Come back.
Oh, okay. So if I didn't know anything about the Hidden Pioneers, and I looked you up on Facebook, what do I need to know as a newbie?
Well, you just need to know that we care about kids, especially high school students, and we're into cool cars and all things technology. So transportation and technology at the coolest level.
I have seen some of the stuff on your Facebook page. There shows, I mean, you guys are all over the place. And it seems to me like your mandate is helping younger people and new people to the sport to get involved, to learn some things, to do some trade information, and be able to start a career either building, restoring, fabbing, or something along those lines for cars and custom cars and things like that. Tell me how you guys got started.
Well, I actually started this group from a marketing team called International All Stars, and coming to the hot rodding scene, I actually knew Wally Parks when I started the whole sport compact section when the Hondas and the front wheel cars were racing against the rear wheel drive cars and the whole
Right.
Japanese market. And that's when I hooked up with Wally Parks, and I kind of helped NHRA with the lifestyle segment of drag racing.
Nice.
And again, this was still with the International All Stars. And then later on, as I grew up, I started coming across people that were more mature and doing it for different reasons, wanted to change the scope of educating young people. And that's when we came up with Hidden Pioneers, and dovetailing to the name Hidden Pioneers, it came from the movie Hidden Figures.
Okay. That was going to be my next question. How'd you find an iconic name like Hidden Pioneers? So it came out of the movie, and?
Yeah, well, it part came out of the movie because of I have a famous relative, a cousin, who helped us with the moon launch in '69, and so I put it together. I prayed about it, and the Lord kind of gave me this name because I was looking to get back into the industry, and with people that were movers and shakers, people that's been there, done that, but people that are humble, that don't mind giving back their time. So long story short, it came up with Hidden Pioneers, and it's been that way for about 3 years now.
Yeah. So one of the things that, I've been fiddling around with cars and doing car shows and building stuff for years and years and years. It's probably since I was about 16. And one of the things that I found is that there's a ton of people who really appreciate helping somebody get involved in the business. They're willing to give up their time and their knowledge, whatever, such as it is. And most of the ones that I have met are pretty humble about it. Like, I don't know everything, but I know this. And I'll give you this, and maybe you can find out that from somebody else, but I know a guy. And it kind of starts, like that. Um, I know a little bit about you, Bill. Sonia, how'd you get involved in the Hidden Pioneers?
Don't you?
They recruited me
Because nobody just randomly recruits now. Why did they pick you?
Tell about the loud engines you like.
because I like loud engines and fast cars.
This is a good thing about you. I already know we're going to be friends. So, um,
Well,
what's
actually, I've been a teacher for many years. I also am a writer, published
okay?
writer, and
Pilot.
I love cars and love loud noises, loud engines. So,
You would probably like my wife. She
oh, and a pilot also.
she's the same. Oh, you're a pilot. Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
So so what's your function within the organization?
I'm sorry, what for
What's your
what?
function in the organization?
My function?
PR, marketing, all this stuff.
PR, marketing.
Okay.
I have a background in that as well, so
Okay.
I'm hoping I'm going to be able to help the organization with that.
That's
Sure,
great. We
yeah.
have that in common. I have about 25 years in PR and marketing.
Oh,
So
great.
I know whereof you speak.
Okay, wonderful.
Jerry, how about you? What's your background and how'd you get involved with this?
Yeah, well, when I met Bill, we were at a coffee shop, local coffee shop here in Corona, California, and he was doing big things in LA, Long Beach. And since I was born and raised here, I said, hey, why don't you, and he lives here as well. So I said, why don't you start here? Because everybody I grew up with, we can get the appointments real fast.
Right?
We had a lot of good people in high places here. And
Yeah.
sure enough, man, we just started making contacts and introducing Bill in his vision, his desire to bring transportation technology to the youth.
Sure.
And a lot of people they don't accept the auto shop no more because of the name, right? We have to change the culture, the image. Hey, but when you say transportation technology, and then we bring in the lab classes, now we're talking.
Right.
Now we're
Yeah.
talking um, big business because these kids need the information. After this,
Absolutely.
they do. They really do. Everybody's talking about it, but we don't get a lot of doers on this side. They say, "Oh, we're lacking technicians, we're lacking workers, we're like." I go, "Yeah, but who's the one educating? Who's the one
Where are they
passing on
coming
this
from?
knowledge?"
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So, yeah, when we hooked up, it was just like basically we had parallel lives, and we teamed up, and yeah, this team right here, and we have more members, but they're just doing amazing things in the schools with the youth. We go out to a lot of events, car racing, the In and Out. We attended that 75th anniversary In and Out
Yeah.
here in SoCal. Just amazing, amazing people doing wonderful things.
Yeah, that was a
Yeah.
pretty good event. I followed it on Facebook and looked at some of the things that came back from the event and things. It's very cool. Now I don't know if you guys are aware. I'm in actually North Idaho. I'm about 80 miles south of the Canadian border. So
Oh, wow.
right here we don't have an In and Out, but we should, and we're actively looking. But the car culture here in Coeur d'Alene, Post Falls, I don't know if you're familiar with this part of the country, but Spokane is the kind of inland empire capital of Western Washington, and we're 6 miles across the Idaho border from them. And the car
Oh, okay. Very close to
culture here
Spokane.
is very, very strong. There are a lot of clubs here, and I grew up. I'm going to just bore you with this for a second, but you'll see why when I get to it. I grew
Right.
up in Seattle, and I was involved over there for years, producing car shows, doing club stuff, and all the things that car people do. And I got involved with the Washington Hot Rod Hall of Fame because it's a great organization that promotes the sport and inducts people in, hot rodders of the year and things like that. They also get scholarship money for people who are going into the auto trades program, at the local colleges. Well, my wife and I moved over here a few years ago, and my intention was, well, I'll get involved in the Idaho Hot Rod Hall of Fame. And when we got here, there wasn't one. So
Oh, wow.
I formed one. We are now a 501c3. The Idaho State Hot Rod Hall of Fame is headquartered in Post Falls, strangely enough, at my house. And But
Nice.
we're just at the point now where we're about 3 weeks away from our first awards banquet. It's going to be on November 18th. And during that banquet, we are going to induct someone into the Hall of Fame as a hot rodder of the year. We're going to have a young rodder of the year. And I just got, this is kind of a first announcement. I just got hooked up with an outfit called the RPM Foundation that writes grants and does scholarships and apprenticeship programs, auto trades programs all across the country. And we're going to be one of their representatives here. We're going to create a scholarship and an apprenticeship program here in North Idaho, actually for the whole state, but it's going to start in North Idaho because that's where I am. And we're real excited about that. So you and I are kind of on the same path. You guys have 3 years on me, but that's okay. Tell me some of the things that you've done to kind of aim towards that whole thing, because I think we're all on the same page. Young people coming into the trades and young people coming into the hobby is what's going to keep it going.
Right.
So tell me, give me an idea of what Hidden Pioneers is about. I mean, we can go to Facebook and see your events. I'd like to know from you guys, what are some of the things that really stand out for you?
Well, like I said, we go to we've been going to high schools since 2004. We did a tour in LA. That's where we started, and our mission and goal is to take it nationwide.
Nice.
And we want to do 100 schools nationwide, and we want to be consistent, and we want to change the culture and the image of cool cars again. And we've taken them away, which we shouldn't have done, and we need anybody listening. We need help. We need support of people to make everybody do a little bit so we can get it back on campus in the schools nationwide. That's going to help everyone, the track owners, the racers, everyone in the industry, but it's transportation and technology.
Yep.
So the technology piece is going faster than the transportation side, and we kind of need to slow down, regroup, come back, and move transportation, and then the technology part. So, and the Hidden Pioneers, we're the ones that can do that because, we have the education, we have the information, we're cool people, calm, obedient, outstanding, and loving. And so we also need to do it with the words, and then action. That's how we're going to do it. So one person, one day, one step, one school, one parent, one media person like you. If we can get 50% of the people saying the same thing, we'll be in good shape, believe it or not.
No, you're absolutely right. And it's true. I mean, you can say, and this goes across the board for almost any, activity. You can say anything you want. It's what you do that really matters. Everybody's got a line, but you walk the walk and talk the talk both.
That's
Those
it.
things get done, and people see that, and they kind of gravitate towards you. I found that to be true. I think everybody that cares about the hobby kind of understands that there's the initial attraction of working on something or making something or doing what you want. It's an art project. It's an art project, and it's all about you. But you need to be able to not drag, but draw someone else into that and say, look how much fun this was. You don't think you can do this, but you can. And I'll help you in any way I can, or I'll show you somebody who can better than me. And that's really what it is. Gas prices are not helping. The economy is not helping. People make it work. At least that's my opinion.
Right. Yeah, that's it. We're big on that. We're big on collaborating with people. And in this day and age, there are some good hurdles to jump because after COVID, it was almost an individual atmosphere that was set. And yes, you're on social media. Yes, you're communicating, but you're communicating as an individual rather than a group setting.
Yes.
And so when we go to these schools, we really bring in a lot of outside personnel, whether it be engineers, painters, designers, architects, whatever it may be. We bring them with us on this school tour to offer these kids. It's not just the building of the car. per se getting your hands dirty, quote unquote, but who's going to paint the car? Who's going to design the car? Who's going to
Sure.
do all these other trades, promote the car? Who's going to be the
Yeah.
artist? So there's so much that these youngsters are hungry for that they don't know about, and
Right.
that's what we want to bring them.
And the most fun part about that, what you're saying, Jerry, is exactly right. It's not that you don't know something; it's the things that you don't know that you don't know.
Right.
Yeah.
That's the beauty of, like, let me just give you this. You may not have thought about this, but and the light comes on sometimes when you do that. And I mean, I still have tons of things to learn. I mean, you never stop learning. There are all kinds of things. I regularly make horrible mistakes, but that's how you learn
Yeah.
to do stuff. If nothing else, I can share. I did this once and it really messed up. So let me save you from that. And sometimes that's the
Yeah.
best advice you can give
It's
someone.
it is funny. My buddy has a saying. He goes, "How do you know that that's right?" He's like, "Because I did it the other 101 wrong ways, and
Yes,
that's how I know
yes,
that's right."
yeah. I used
Yeah,
to have hair, and then I
yeah,
I did it wrong enough that now I'm good. Oh, I'm sorry, Bill. I wasn't meaning to.
yeah.
Hey, we're twins.
Yeah, clearly. Um,
I got.
yeah, that's a nice skull. I like that one. That's a good one.
Mhm.
So, tell me you have a crowning project or a particular thing that you love to do the most, maybe? But tell me about that.
Well, we like events, and we like a lot of kids. We like educating. We like
Yeah,
talking to the kids about what we know that they don't know because we have the information. So, we get a kick out of that, and we come up with these names to entertain ourselves. Like we call them. There's two types of people out there that I guess the world or they call them all kinds of like Gen X, Gen Y, Gen Z.
sure.
So we just call them two.
Okay.
Uh, Gen Z, which are zebras, and baby boomers.
Okay.
That's the only two. Now there's no age difference. You could be 50 something years old and be a zebra, okay, and you could be 12 years old and you could be a baby boomer. It just
Okay.
depends on how much common sense you have,
I see.
and you see what I'm saying. Your willingness
I got
to
you.
help and do the right thing, and it's the information that you get and you obtain, and you keep the common sense because the artificial intelligence can take your common sense away. And
Yes.
this is why we came up with words like pocket computer. Okay, you see this right here?
Yes.
This is not a cell phone. It's a
No,
pocket computer. And
fair enough.
and so we we're talking to the kids and the parents about the device that uh, but you have to call things what they are to get people's attention. If you're saying the wrong things, then you're not as effective. And so I know that from doing the R&D for all the years that I've been in the school system. So
Right.
I know more than most people know, and therefore I can call certain things because I get the kids buy-in to what it is. And
Right.
sometimes they'll even come up with the words. If you if you're in the trenches and you kind of talk
Yeah.
to them and you listen, they'll come up with some words that you never even thought of.
Well, they came up with your name, right?
Yeah, they came up with my name, and
CSI.
yeah, it's a CSI because I used to always talk about common sense intelligence.
There you go.
And so if you're consistent with something, and like you said, you talked about the action, okay?
Right.
It really is the action, but if you do the action and then you do the right words, if they're saying so, for example, in a lot of the schools, and I don't care if you're in Idaho, Spokane, Texas, uh, Ohio, these words make their way, and I don't know. I don't know if they start in California, if they start, and who knows where they start, but they make their way around, and then it's called a trend, and everybody starts saying it. Now that word that they're saying today is fool, like FOOL.
Right.
Now, I don't know how they switched it from cool to fool, but this is what the word is. And so,
I see. So the
I,
definition has changed, but the word remains the same.
yes, well, yeah, because the kids, they're fool, they think it's cool. Yo, fool, what up, fool? So
Got
it's
it.
that slang, and so I started thinking, well, I start asking the question, do you know what fool is? And guess what? Most of them don't know. They're just following the leader because it sounds cool.
Sure. Sure.
I'm like, well, I don't know why fool sounds like cool, but so anyways, we have fun with it, and we turn it, and we get the hidden pioneers to say the words, and we come up with our own meanings.
Ah,
This is how we're going to help change the culture and the image,
yeah. Yeah.
and we need people like you and the media. That's a huge outlet. Okay, so now we have to get the media. Thank you very much for having us on, because it's all about
Glad to have you.
spreading that word.
Thanks for coming.
Um, and now we're politicians. We just went and talked to the mayor of Moreno Valley,
Okay.
and he's a pretty cool dude. He's actually one of the youngest mayors. He's 39 years old,
It's pretty good.
uh, Hispanic, um, and he has some street smarts about him. Um, and he kind of remembers a lot of that street slang stuff, but that's very important, because if you let the suits turn you into suits, then you will continue to be a suit, okay, and not too
Sure.
much will get done.
Yeah. So what's your
And
what's your hope to happen with the mayor, for example? What's your goal with that one?
well, good question. He immediately took action on what we talked with. This is our second meeting with him. The first
Right.
meeting was introductions and things like that, and we were hoping to create some action items and stuff like that. Well, come to find out that he was ready for us. He was ready to do some action,
Nice.
and on top of that, he's got some grant writers on his
Ah,
staff
good.
that we need, and he's going to help us with that. So, again, I call it a good headache. I got a good headache, and
Yeah.
I might happen. And guess what? On that good headache, a couple pieces of hair may come back on there.
You never know. I mean, that it could be a good thing. So, so,
So,
so tell me what they're going to write. What you're thinking about writing grants for? What are you going to do with the grant?
oh, good, yeah. So grants. We're going to write grants so that we can get the funding to go to more schools.
Got it. So I
As
don't
you
want to
know,
say
everything
don't
costs
perpetuate it,
money,
but it
and
allows you to expand the process.
yeah. Well, it allows us to expand to go to more schools,
Sure.
because you got to go to them. That's the main thing about this
Right.
whole thing, is that a lot of people, they build all this fancy stuff. The racetrack owners and stuff like that,
Right.
they always think that there's numbers in the seats, even though nobody's in the seats.
Sure.
And it's like, okay, well, if nobody's there, then there's zero. But if you go to them, I don't care if you do a discount, you
Right.
talk to them, something's better than nothing.
Sure.
Now,
Always.
as you know, the old school way of doing things is not the same. It's completely changed.
Oh yeah.
And
But
so
technology has done that.
yeah,
Technology.
yeah,
The fact that we're
right.
doing this now, you know, 1,800 miles apart, we couldn't have done this, a few years ago, 15 years ago. This wouldn't have happened. And
Right.
look at what is happening because of it. We're reaching people, I hope, that might not ever have gotten this information. How wonderful is that?
Yes, well, that's cool. That's the word cool, because it creates, calm, obedient, outstanding, and loving, with the words that we say, and the consistency. And by the way, with people like you, that's cool. Everybody's cool. They're not a fool. They just don't have the information. What's cool versus a fool.
I got it.
So,
Hey, listen, speaking of
um,
cool, I've got a gentleman by the name of Ron Ferguson who is just ready to come into the show. Let me bring him in. He's
yeah, bring
yeah,
in
hang on.
Ron, man, because Ron is a hidden pioneer,
Okay. Well,
and there he is.
he's on
And
here. He's connecting to his audience
hey,
now. At least we have a picture. It's a great picture. Him and his cat.
right, that's Ron. There he is. Oh, he's still on
Well,
Ron, there he is.
there we go. Hello, Ron.
Hi, how's life?
Hey, life is good. We're just in the middle of a conversation. I'm Brady. And you know, Bill and Sonia and Jerry. Jerry.
Yeah.
So,
All those
we're
guys.
those guys. So I like your background there. Are you imminently launching, or what's going on?
That was what I did before the bean counters said that the demographics of the company were too heavily weighted for people my age.
I see. I noticed the shirt and the logo. I get all of that. But it's an honor on that basis because I was there when it went up in '69. So that's grand. Well, so we've just been talking about some of the things Bill has been, gracefully sharing the whole kind of philosophy behind the Hidden Pioneers. Give me your take on this thing. What drew you to this particular program?
Wow.
25 words or less.
25 words or less. Well,
I invite him to a school, and he was hooked ever since.
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember first seeing Bill's activity over at a special car show called the Benedict Castle event that used to be run by Nicole McGuire. She unfortunately has left us. And I go, what's he doing? Oh, yeah, he's helping to support schools, get the ideas out on teaching, and getting the word out to kids that, hey, don't worry about whether you're not going to Princeton or Stanford or something like that. In fact, it's become apparent these days that people have much more satisfying lives if they don't try to go for a multi $100,000 degree and actually go and get more of a trade school type thing.
Sure. Well, that whole student debt
you
thing
make
is
more
just
money over your lifetime. So
Yeah.
and I was kind of drawn to that, and over the time I've been able to help him a little bit by providing working assets, and then also attend some of the car shows. And I've had a unique vehicle, which apparently a lot of the older people like to freak over because they remember watching a movie called Back to the Future, which they identify with. And long story short, yeah, I'm just one of his little cronies that, when they have time, will show up to help him out. So
this is why Ron is Ron. He won't tell you because he's a humble gentleman, but if you really like the GPS satellite, this is the man who made that happen.
I see.
He's the rocket scientist behind this GPS system.
This is sort of like a running joke. I had the privilege of working with a lot of really good people at a couple of different launch sites who were instrumental in putting up things like the Iridium satellite constellation and the Globostar satellite constellation, which were basically the first satellite telephones.
Got it.
And then on top of that,
You're talking about the bricks here, because I remember those.
Yeah, they used to, and they're still kind of big. Actually, now they're kind of small, and you can actually still try to communicate with some stuff. But then also the guys at the Cape were mostly putting up the original satellite constellation for GPS.
Got it.
And so, I was there just for one of those launches. The running joke is that if you're using your GPS to get from point A to point B and you get lost, please go back and verify you put in the correct address, because the rest of us don't really like our names being used in vain when you get lost and are going, hey, these guys are responsible for me being lost. No. The system is a good, robust system. Don't worry
Operator
about it.
Operator error.
And then I was also involved with a lot of NASA missions and other communications and other research type missions. And it was an absolutely fascinating time I had in my career, and I wish it never ended. I wouldn't even mind just continuing with it today, but it all depends upon where they want to get the skill levels for the future.
Sure. But the advantage of having done all of that, I'm quite sure, is that you can see the benefit of technology in for example, this end of the business, of the hobby sphere. It's never going to stop. The technology, and engineering and hobby. I mean, they're kind of inextricably, melded together now. You
Yeah.
really can't do one without the other. I remember back in the day, in the 80s, when cars started all having computers on them, and that at that point, the shade tree mechanic, you kind of had to have, the computers, the fuel mappers, and all that kind of stuff if you were going to build a car. And when the tools to do that got to about 20 grand or so, a lot of people sort of backed away because that's a huge investment that you have to make. And yet, the hobby is just as ripe today as it ever has been. You just make the differences, you make the allowances, and you learn those things because you have to.
Yeah, exactly. And
By
like
the
you
way,
say,
I have a GPS story for you, just a real quick one, since you have some personal involvement. I bought a house here in Idaho about 3.5 years ago, and we were looking on the satellite to see where the thing was. It's just simple stuff, street stuff, maps and stuff. But you go to the satellite to take a look at what the area is. And in spite of the fact that I was standing in front of the house that I was going to buy, the GPS showed a large area of undeveloped land because that's what it was about 5 months before I bought the house.
yeah,
And
yeah,
it's like, so how often does it get updated? Obviously, so I thought it was kind of cute.
yeah. A lot of the images you see on Google Earth came from a first series of satellites
Yeah.
called. Wait a minute, I'm already forgetting it. Uh, uh, darn, I forget what goes bad when you get older too.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
Oh, QuickBird. We put up satellites 1 through 4 QuickBird, and it was a really at the time it was a really uh, good showing of how good the Boeing company was because the company that had these wanted to put these up um, came to Boeing, and within less than 7 months we had them on orbit.
Nice.
And that just shows the incredible ability of the Boeing company at that time to put stuff up. Of course, now people go ahead and say, well, only SpaceX can do something special like that now. But
Because of what
this
Boeing
was
did.
yeah, this is before we decided to go more commercial, and we had more infamous people such as Elon Musk coming out. Um, but yeah, I can remember somebody saying, "Oh yeah, I don't have that car anymore. Why is it still in my driveway?" Uh, yeah, you need to go ahead and renew the photos as time goes on.
Yep.
But anyway,
It's a big earth. You can't renew everything all the time.
yeah,
There's bound to be a couple.
Brady, do you see someone named Bill Brown? Bill Brown's trying to come in, I think.
I don't see him here just yet. As soon as he does,
Okay.
we're just about out of time. I got about 4 minutes left. But it has been tremendous. If Bill comes in, I'll definitely let him in. Give me an idea of what the Hidden Pioneers have coming up. What's your focus going forward for the next 2 to 5 years? Let's go there.
All right. So, well, like I said, we want to do a nationwide tour in 2024. That's
Nice.
going to be new. We've kind of done all of Southern California, and that includes San Diego, uh, LA, everything in California. Um, and we're going to do it with NHRA because NHRA already has a national footprint.
Right.
So we're going to partner up with NHRA, and we want to acquire a Space Act agreement with NASA to further that reach and get more connected to be able to do more with the STEM program. Now, I will say this again: STEM is still considered a new program because of the execution. Um, Obama bought it in 2009. Okay, and of course, presidents, they bring stuff in and they get distracted. Okay, and sometimes programs stop, sometimes they go away, sometimes they come back, and so STEM is, hopefully it will stay, but NASA can help it stay, SpaceX can help it stay, but they have to get connected. They're not completely connected right now. That's the problem. So Hidden Pioneers can help connect the dots because we're boots on the ground.
There you go.
We can understand it. We like the kids, and we can talk to the suits.
That's a
and
great combination. It's hard
Yes.
to beat all of those connections.
Yes,
Well,
yes, and at the same time, again, we want to keep things. We want to be cool doing it. Okay, it's the simple words. Now I can tell you this. Okay, right now we're behind the other countries: India, China, Germany, Japan. A lot of people don't know why we're behind. I'm gonna tell you why we're behind. Okay, we're behind because it's called we've spoiled each other. And I say we, okay? We're spoiled, okay? And also, we're not teaching basic electronics. And we're not teaching it with something called a digital multimeter.
Oh,
If we can get a digital multimeter in our schools, starting in, it could be the 5th, 6th grade, but let's just say we get it in the high schools. That will be a great start.
nice.
So when the President of the United States, Joe Biden, okay, says that we're number 9 at manufacturing and we want to get back to being number 1, we're not going to be able to do it unless we teach our students how to use a digital multimeter.
Boy, that is true. And that's probably a whole other show, which I'd actually like to do. What do you guys think about doing part 2?
Oh yeah, part 2. That'd be wonderful.
All right. Well, I'll tell you what.
We're just
We're
getting
just
warmed
about
up.
out of time for tonight. So I want to say thank you to Bill and Sonia and Jerry and Ron. I really appreciate you guys coming. We will set up a part 2. I'll get in contact with all of you basically, and we'll see if we can do this because this is way more than a one-shot show, and we're just running out of time. But I really want to thank you for coming. I appreciate the time, and let's do this again.
You're into cars. You love a good time, and you'd rather build it than buy it. You just might love the Rat Bastards. We're a family-oriented nonprofit organization. We welcome all 1969 and older. In the rough is enough, real steel and iron. We're about old-school traditional hot rods and rat rods. We get together, have fun, help each other build, and cruise like crazy because that's the way car clubs are supposed to be. The Rat Bastards are a new class of old school, and our signature event is the Infestation Show every July. Check our Facebook page for location, time, and dates. We're charter sponsors of the Idaho Hot Rod Hall of Fame and the Hot Rod Podcast. Join us at cruise-ins all over Washington and Idaho. Joining the club is easy, by the way. Contact us through the club page for Washington or Idaho. Check us out on the Rat Bastards Car Club pages on Facebook. We'll see you on the road.
That was a great show, and I really hope we get a chance to do 2. Ron, as I mentioned, was absent tonight because he's got some home projects going on, but that's okay. He'll be back next time around. In the meantime, I'm Brady Wright. This is the Hot Rod Podcast, and we'll see you on the next one.
That's it for this episode of the Hot Rod Podcast. Be sure to like and subscribe to our show, and we appreciate it if you smash those notification buttons too, so you'll know when a new one drops. For Ron Foreman, I'm Brady Wright. This has been the Hot Rod Podcast. We'll see you on the next one.